Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. So y'all want me to do a video on my day off? All right, let's do a video. Show my motto. What's up, guys? It is the Bad Wolf. Once again, we're gonna bring you guys a fire video. I think you guys are really, really gonna like this one. Because you know how we get down here. All right, so yeah, even though it is my day off, yeah, I'll do a video before I get out of here and then go enjoy myself. Put in some of the last little bit of sunshine and sunlight. Let me get the light. You tell I was not prepared for this, but we're just gonna, well, okay, maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit. All right. So once again, thank you to each and every one of you guys out there who watches my videos. Now, understand this. What we're going to talk about in this video is all of the legal definitions of the term United States. All right. Now, the short version is this. Essentially, we all know there's the corporation under UCC 9-307, location of the debtor, letter H, District of Columbia. So how can the United States be in, the whole United States be in the District of Columbia? Don't believe me? Go look up that code on Cornell Law. Don't bother me with it. Talk to the law. Don't talk to me. How are you going to feel some way about the information I'm presenting because you feel some way? Oh, here's me playing the tiniest violin. Because look it up. You're going to bother me on how you feel versus what's law and fact. Look it up. Cornell Law, EDU, location of the debtor, 9-307, letter H. The United States is located in, modifier, word in, the District of Columbia. So if that's the case, then is there more than one United States? And the law and I and many other intelligent individuals out there say yes, because you feel there isn't, because you don't understand there is. That's why some things say United States, some things say United States of America. Well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. America is the geographical ground. The United States is the corporation operating business on top of the ground. Those are two separate things. But if you go back far enough, they didn't have to worry about all that until the introduction of the corporation. At one point in time, the United States of America was all one thing. We didn't have to break it up. But for legal and copyright infringement reasons, they made one the corporation and one the de jure American nation. Corporation, nation. Matter of fact, here's a little gem drop. So if the normal lower courts and the judges get irate, and I do not recommend doing this, so this does mean do not do this. You mentioned the Constitution in there, they're going to try to get you in contempt. Why would they do that? Because in those lower courts, they're not operating under the Constitution. They're operating under state law, statutes, codes, regulations for their corporation. Now, when done properly, they do have to accept your standing and you are not waiving your rights when done properly, because they're supposed to entertain that as well. But remember, they take an oath to the bar, and even though it's the American bar here, or so-called, and it's a franchise of the British bar. So that's why they are legally looked at as foreign agents, because here's the thing, under the FARA Act, F-A-R-A, Foreign Agent Registration Act. Why? Because they take an oath to the bar, which does in fact conflict with their constitutional oath for being a public officer. So if you can't mention the Constitution in the lower courts, then it's a different jurisdiction. But it's all supposed to be under the United States, right? So then there must be two United States, or is there more? Is that the reason why there's the specific dimension American flag, and then there's the United States corporation flag with the gold fringes on it? The one with no fringe is outside on a flagpole, generally, mounted securely and permanently to the geographical or continental United States of America ground. And the other one's inside of most office buildings and police stations and whatever else with the gold fringe on a movable. So I guess that would represent that. I don't know, maybe you should look up Army Regulation AR 840-10, use of the gold fringe flag. Indoors represents the movable corporation versus the American permanent ground continental geographical. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what the brilliant mind out there say, because we're going to challenge GPT with it. Oh, I already did. So let's see what it has to say. Now, mind you, Chat GPT is only as smart as the information that it can find out there on the internet, and it can interpret, which also means that it does not access all of the books nor have human interpretation. So you might have to ask it specific questions. So yes, Chat GPT is biased for the corporation until you ask it specific questions and codes and you corner it. See, what we teach here is about legal style on the legal level. Okay, that's why most places have a legal department. One of the reasons why I've always been successful in these things is because I learned things on the legal level and then I challenge them, which means that the low-level functionaries who don't operate or have the mental comprehension of the people in the legal department don't know what we're talking about. This is one of the curses of having an IQ of almost 160. When you're too smart, most people don't understand you and they resent you. But I digress. Not you guys, because you guys are awesome. As always, guys, if you see anybody using my image, likeness, logos, or anything else like that in a negative way, report them for bullying, slander, and defamation of character. Thank you in advance. If you guys need anything from me, from consultations or help with food programs, free dentists, or whatever else, go and check out Blacksite 32 or Badwolf Unincorporated.com. You can also send me donations there as well. Thank you in advance for those people who do or will. Thank you to the people out there who support Badwolf by joining the pack on my YouTube channel main page, which if you guys have not seen my videos in a while, go and check out the YouTube channel main page, because sometimes they will unsubscribe you. It ain't me. You can join the Wolf Pack by hitting the join button and then choosing any platform level to get all the videos and member-only videos and the behind the scenes if you choose. Gives you a little bit of extra commentary and helps some of your processes work a little bit better with the little juicier bits over there. So thank you to the people who continuously help me there. As always, guys, this is education entertainment, as are all my videos, all my information. Use your own discernment. And for the love of God, if you guys are going to be out there using other people's information, make sure you vet it. Take your time. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that the agencies out there will necessarily give you all of the truth, because they may not know all of the truth. But I always side on the error of safety and caution. If they tell you not to do this, it's probably best not to do it. If I tell you to do it, it's because I live this life and I already know it works. And they can't tell me otherwise. So I've seen it and I've done it and I've used it. And that's why I bring it to you guys. So without further ado, let's take a look at what ChatGPT has when it comes to the United States. All right, all right. So here you can see that I typed in the term United States. All right, actually, I typed in what are all the definitions legally to the term United States. The term, you know what? Here, I'll just have her read it. She's got a better voice than me anyway.
The term United States can have several legal definitions depending on the context in which it is used. Here are some common legal interpretations. 1. Geographical definition.
Now, notice she said some common legal. So this doesn't mean all. You have to be careful. Sometimes they give you the answers right in there, but if you don't see it say this is all, there are no other, only, exclusive, these areas, that's for you guys at the Department of State, so you guys can update your terminology to make sure that you say only Samoa and other areas like that. But see, there's multiple nationals, and you guys know you're supposed to include that. For the record, look in your own book, GPO Styles Manual, and go to section 5.23 on nationals. That's all. Have a good day. All right. So if they don't mention, oh, you too, Cornell Law, because I know you guys watch this as well. Um, if they don't say all or only or specific, then you can interpret that to mean that there are others that they're not including. They don't have to necessarily tell you all of them, but they should. By law, they should. But they're hoping you have common sense. Yeah. Okay. Average IQ of the American today is less than 80. It's like 75 or something. No offense, but that's what it is. It's from their civil and social engineering. Let's give everybody trophies. You showed up for your class. That's great. Instead of teaching them things that they need to know how to do, like balancing a checkbook, fixing a tire, etiquette, and how to be a man, how to be a woman, not to live in mental delusion. But if you are having mental problems, go and talk to somebody. Things that people need in regular life. Average person is not going to use trigonometry and some half that other BS. But I digress. So here it says here are some common, which means that there are some uncommon, and there are more than what is listed here. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying here? You have to be able to identify these things, okay? But let's keep going. See what does she have to say?
Definition. United States.
So now we're talking about geographical. That means the physical ground. So there is a physical ground, United States. This is what they're telling you. In the continental sense, the physical effing grounded states, the landmass. De jure.
States refers to the 50 states, the District of Columbia, and U.S. territories.
Oh, hold on. The District of Columbia is not American, but they are physically here, so they fall underneath our geographical term, United States. So they're in the family, but they themselves are privately owned, but they're in the family. If your last name is Smith and you give me or bestow upon me the honorary title of a Smith, James Badwolf Lovett Smith, I'm not a blood Smith, am I? But I'm honorarily in your family. Okay? This is how the legal department looks at things that you guys don't understand. And this is why I'm going to get you to overstand this information. And a lot of times the Department of State, they like to say, oh, the only places that are actually nationals are America, Samoa, and Guam, but they're not U.S. citizens. Okay, that is true. However, there are other nationals that are here to the organic state known as the Republic of the United States of America. And under GPO Styles Manual, section 5.23, that statement is made fact. Passport endorsement. Department of State, your own book. Passport endorsement code 09. Nationals, non-citizen nationals, non-citizen U.S. nationals, which are different than nationals of the United States. There are different nationals out there, and they're only talking about one because their legal department has not been apparently privy to all of the information, but it's there. 8 U.S.C. 1401A, Nationals of the United States. That's us. We're born here. 8 U.S.C. 1101 22B, Nationals of the geographic sense, continental sense. Who is issued a passport? 22 CFR 51.2 and 51.3, nationals. Come on, man, kiss my black ass. Trying to hide it. Now, what they can get away with saying is that under the term U.S. citizen, or excuse me, rather, citizens of the United States, yes, all of them are in the same basket. But you have the right to choose between a U.S. citizen, the corporate entity, fiction, member of the District of Columbia, federal citizen, and a private citizen, aka a national, non-resident state citizen, national of the United States, U.S. national, regarded by IRS code or IRS in their code as a non-resident alien for tax purposes, tax exempt when done properly. But let's keep going and see what they have to say. See how much information we just gleaned out of this? And I could go deeper into all of these things, but I'm just giving you the basics. This is what's hidden legally in just this one sentence we just went through. So let's keep going.
Territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. This definition is often used in matters of federal law, immigration, customs, and taxation. Example, under the Internal Revenue Code, the term United States includes the 50 states and the District of Columbia for purposes of federal income tax. 2. Constitutional definition. In the U.S. Constitution, the United States refers to the union of states that make up the Federal Republic. Example, in Article 2, the Constitution states that the President of the United States is the leader of the entire federal union, which includes all member states. 3. Political entity.
Oh. So there's the difference in here. You hear it? Not only is there a constitutional United States, there's a geographical United States, and then there's a political entity.
Entity. United States can also refer to the federal government as a political and sovereign entity.
Did you hear that? I didn't hear the word America. The federal government as a political and sovereign entity. The United States of America is a geographical living and people, not a sovereign entity. But the federal government itself is a corporation under UCC 9-307, location of the debtor, letter H. There are multiple variants to the United States.
Entity. This is often seen in cases where lawsuits or other legal actions are brought by or against the federal government. Example, in the context of legal proceedings, a lawsuit titled United States v. Defendant refers to the U.S. federal government as the prosecuting entity. 4. Legal personhood. Sometimes, the United States can be treated as a legal person.
I like how they said sometimes. No, not sometimes. It is a legal person, and it can be treated that way. It's part of law that legal persons are separate and distinct from individuals or natural persons. But see how they try to sway it a little bit? It's biased. ChatGPT is biased.
Person capable of owning property, entering into contracts, and bringing lawsuits.
Because it's commercial. It's a commercial entity, separate, non-alive, non-living debtor in the United States.
Lawsuits. Example, in certain lawsuits, the United States is listed as a plaintiff or defendant, acting as a legal entity. 5. Customs and international trade law. In trade law, United States may refer more specifically to the customs territory, which includes the 50 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico, for customs purposes. Some U.S. territories may have different customs regulations. Example: goods imported into the United States must clear customs, which applies to areas within the customs territory but may exclude certain territories. 6. Territorial versus non-territorial United States. In some legal contexts, the term distinguishes between the continental U.S. and other territories or possessions. Example: the term continental United States excludes Alaska and Hawaii, while the United States generally includes all 50 states, D.C., and territories.
Because continental means all touching. And we don't own Canada, not directly at least, indirectly. Same basic owner. Long live the queen, oh, king. All right, let's keep going.
Territories. 7. Immigration law. For the purposes of immigration law, United States generally refers to the 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the 5 inhabited territories.
Keeping in mind, there's the 50 minor states, minor meaning small, meaning federal, and the 50 superior states, which is the republic, the people. Okay? Just like Florida state would be the major, state of Florida would be the minor. We are the superior.
Territories. Example: a person admitted to the United States is allowed entry into these areas under U.S. immigration law. 8. Federal versus state authority. In discussions of federalism, United States can also distinguish the federal government from individual states. Example: the 10th Amendment refers to powers not delegated to the United States as being reserved to the states. Statutory examples.
All right, so hold on. The 10th Amendment refers to powers not delegated to the United States as being reserved to the states. We're talking about two separate things here. These are two separate entities. Remember, you've got a federal state, you've got the state of, you've got the state, you've got the people, which forms their own state, nationals, who operate through like Florida state. The 10th Amendment refers to powers not delegated to the United States as being reserved to the states. So there's the government and then there's the other states. They have their own certain amount of powers, but they're all still subservient to the federal. The federal operates under the Constitution. The Constitution operates under we the people.
Examples. 18 U.S.C. Section 5, criminal law defines United States as including all places and waters, continental or insular, subject to U.S. jurisdiction. 8 U.S.C. Section 1101, A 38, immigration law defines United States for immigration purposes as including the 50 states, District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, and U.S. Virgin Islands. These definitions ensure clarity and precision in legal contexts, depending on whether the term United States is being used to refer to geography, governmental authority, or sovereignty. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info.
All right. So there you have it. There are different United States, but now let's go back and see, remember it being biased, let's see what it says if I type in, what is the legal difference between the United States and the United States of America? Let's see what it says. So we're going to go right to it. and see if it's gonna, what answer it'll give us. I'm gonna say, okay, based on this info, I now know there is a legal difference. I'm talking to it, you don't have to do this, but on the same lines, what is the legal difference between the United States and the United States of America if argued out in court by a lawyer using Black's Law Dictionary and viewed by an international perspective. Okay, why did it lock up? Ah, what tough question, Chad GPT. Don't want to answer the question? All right, let's try it again. There was an error generating your response. I ain't never seen that one before. Okay. So here, let me shorten it up. Here, let me ask it a okay. So it's giving a little bit of bias, but it's also because I forced it to go a little bit deeper. Now it's saying possible legal arguments based on these terms. See, the reason why is because America, we're all in the same family, so they don't want to look at it as there's any difference. It'd be like saying, well, your third cousin ain't on your mama's side ain't the same as your first cousin on your daddy's side. Well, yeah, they are, but at the same time, they're still all family. So right here it says they are legally synonymous in almost all context. However, a lawyer could argue that the United States refers more specifically to the federal government or federal jurisdiction, whereas America might emphasize the entire republic. There it is. See how I put it down here last, and only because I put in Black Law's dictionary? United States, the federal government or national polity, meaning the political party of the 50 states, meaning the state ofs. So the federal government and the political party, state of Florida, state of Maine, state of Arkansas, are different than the United States of America. That's why you don't see America on any of their documents, any of the police cars. They're operating in the corporate part of the family, if you will, the political, maritime. The United States of America, the formal name for the entire nation includes all the states. So we're talking about America as the whole, everybody included. We're all Lovetts here. We're all bad wolves. But some of the ones out there are doing their own thing in the wolf name and ain't really an actual wolf. But you're in the family. See what I'm saying? It says here, courts usually or typically. So this doesn't mean always. See how they have these little words in here for plausible deniability? U.S. courts typically do not recognize a legal distinction because we're all in the same family. They're saying, hey, don't split up the family on some BS. Look, just because your wife cheated on you and had a kid with another man, that baby is still part of the family through her. And they are right. So legally, that child is part of the family. And the child can legally be yours, but it ain't by blood what it is in the family. You see what I'm saying? Now look up here. Historical context. Some legal theorists, especially those involved in some religious arguments, may attempt to distinguish the United States as a corporate or administrative entity post 1871, when Congress passed the District of Columbia Organic Act, versus the United States of America. So they know what we're talking about right here. There's an argument already on the table. The argument is here. That's why it says possible argument, legal arguments. That means this has not been proven one way or the other. It would be like your girl going in the back room with some guy, and she comes out 20 minutes later and her hair's messed up and she's putting her shirt back in and he's smelling his fingers and she's like, no, nothing happened in there. You can't in that moment prove what happened, but the evidence would say, I don't think I liked whatever happened in there. You see what I'm getting at? Black laws breaks it down as the United States of America is the constitutional republic. But if I go into a lower level courthouse and we're at court and I bring up the Constitution, they're going to try to hold me in contempt because they are operating in the political. So what this really means at the end of the day is the government said, you guys are in our family. You guys want to do business, domestic, but of your own free will and accord with your own private jurisdiction. So public is really the private. But they can handle and do business for and in the United States. They said, okay, you guys can do your own jurisdiction. So they're operating under the U.C. in their own private little jurisdiction. They still have to abide supremely by the Constitution when challenged. But in general, it's like joining the Boy Scouts or the Water Buffaloes or the some fraternity. You have to abide by the fraternity's rules in there, and that's their jurisdiction. They're a big dog in there. Whatever say goes. Kind of like a P. Diddy back bedroom. But ultimately, guess what the problem with that is? And for Diddy. Is the American government under the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. You can do what you want to do here, basically, as long as you're not hurting anybody or denying anybody their constitutional rights and freedoms. Did he? Did he do it? I think he done did it. He been diddling. The diddler. Call me a diddler. Not me. Just kidding. So now you see what's going on. It's a bubble inside of a bubble. And they have full reign, almost full reign inside that bubble. And they can only hold you in that bubble as long as you agree. Because if you don't, then they're forcing a contract on you, which is joinder, and it's slavery. And if they're not paying you, then it's peonage. Those are all federal offenses for any department, for anybody who can be sued beyond their bonds on the public side and on their private side. Someone's got to pay. It's not like other countries. We have our Constitution in place, so God bless America. Thank you, founding fathers and all the people who died, gave up their lives and their rights to be able to try to speak freely and were persecuted for our rights that so many people take for granted and don't know how to fight and don't feel like they have a voice. Well, it begins here. No, it doesn't begin here. It began already. It's reignited here if you care to use it, because that is your freedom. You want to be mentally incompetent, mentally belligerent, combatant, that's your choice. You want to fall for Facebook and TikTok, BS media, agents and elite out there brainwashing you. Wear this, dress like this, get a BBL. I don't need a man. You can be whatever you want out there, and I will support you as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Be what you want to be, or be nothing. Be something in between. But don't be fooled, and don't fool yourself.